Hi everyone, welcome to Module 2. The name of this module will be Backward Design, and the title of today's lesson is Building Background Knowledge on the Practice of Backward Design. In this lesson, we will cover the following topics. Number 1, the definition of backward design. Number 2, instances where backward design is used. And number 3, how backward design builds strong scopes, sequences, and lesson plans. Our learning target for today is I will be able to define the term backward design and explain its purpose in curriculum design. I know it's been a crazy week. I'm sure your weekend was also very busy, so we're going to just review what we went over in Module 1 briefly, looking at the key components of a non-formal lesson. So those components are number 1, participants having opportunities to acquire common and academic knowledge. Number 2, participants experiencing social and emotional learning. Number 3, participants have opportunities for self-led exploration and learning. And number 4, we want lessons that provide multiple points of entry for every participant regardless of their age, gender, culture, and skill level. Now that we reviewed the components of a non-formal lesson plan, let's remind ourselves the importance of social and emotional learning, with our first reminder being that it benefits all. It benefits every single participant, regardless of their age, their gender, their creed, their class, or their race. The first bucket for social and emotional learning is self-awareness. Self-awareness is the ability to accurately recognize one's own emotions, thoughts, and values and how they influence behavior. The ability to accurately assess one's strengths and limitations with a well-grounded sense of confidence, optimism, and a growth mindset. So, as a result, with social and emotional learning in the self-awareness category, the takeaway for the participant is identifying emotions, having an accurate self perception, being able to recognize strengths, having self confidence or building self confidence, as well as self efficacy. The second bucket in social and emotional learning is self management, which is the ability to successfully regulate one's emotions, thoughts, and behaviors in different situations, effectively managing stress, controlling impulses, and motivating oneself. Additionally, it's the ability to set and work toward personal and academic goals. So, with self management, the user masters impulse control, self management, self discipline, self motivation, goal setting, and organizational skills, all of which is beneficial once more to everyone, regardless of their age or their current funds of knowledge. Our third bucket is social awareness. Social awareness is the ability to take the perspective of and empathize with others, including those from diverse backgrounds and cultures. The ability to understand social and ethical norms for behavior and to recognize family, school, and community resources and support. So, with social awareness, the user is mastering perspective taking, empathy, appreciating diversity, and respect for others. Our fourth bucket is relationship skills. Relationship skills is the ability to establish and maintain healthy and rewarding relationships with diverse individuals and groups. The ability to communicate clearly, listen well, cooperate with others, resist inappropriate social pressure, resist conflict constructively, and seek and offer help when needed. Mastery of relationship skills gives the user better communication skills, better social engagement. It helps them with their relationship building as well as teamwork or collaboration. The final bucket of social and emotional learning is responsible decision making. Responsible decision making is the ability to make constructive choices about personal behavior and social interactions based on ethical standards, safety concerns, and social norms. The realistic evaluation of consequences of various actions and the consideration of the well being of oneself and others is another byproduct of responsible decision making. Mastery of the components of this bucket allows one to be able to identify problems, analyze situations, solve problems, evaluate a situation, reflect upon it, and then take an ethical, responsible role in the end. Now that we've reviewed the information from module number 1 and we grounded ourselves in the components of non-formal education as well as social and emotional learning, we are now going to take a look at what is backward design. So backward design is the process of designing curriculum, a lesson, or an activity by focusing on the desired outcome first. There are three phases of backward design. The first is identifying desired outcomes, which is naming what learners should be able to understand and do at the end of the lesson. The second is identifying acceptable evidence, which means you're determining what types of assessments and measures would clarify or serve as evidence when and whether students can perform the desired outcome. The third phase is plan learning experiences and instruction. So this is when you begin developing exercises, coming up with your materials and instruction around the desired outcomes and evidence. Why is backward design important? As a teacher, there's often arguments as to whether or not we should continue to use backward design because many educators fail to understand these three main takeaways. Number one, backward design focuses on what students need to know, understand, and be able to do as a result of the provided instruction. The desired result is the catalyst for all related instructional and assessment planning. So if we know where we want our students to be, the entire lesson can be focused on that learning target. Our assessment will focus on the learning target, our products will focus on the learning target, and then there will be no miscommunication as to what students are doing and why they are doing it. The second reason why backward design is important is that there's emphasis that is placed on essential questions and what is most important for students to understand and know, rather than on materials, topics, and content an instructor might be most comfortable with. Student understanding is a central focus of the backward design methodology. So with backward design, we are pushing our thinking as educators. We're not focusing only on what we're comfortable with, but we're pushing those boundaries. To be able to teach students new information, we need to know that information as well. So backward design allows us as the educator to find the information we need to teach our students and become masters at it ourselves. The third reason why backward design is important is because it prioritizes knowledge and focuses on what is most important for students to understand and achieve. Arguably, its design begins with the end in mind. Instruction is more likely to clearly focus on the identified desired results, thus making the lesson plan stronger. Simply what that means once more is if we know what the students need to walk away from that lesson having accomplished, we will know how to break the time up for that lesson in order for students to meet that goal. It's really, really important that we appreciate the backward design process because if we're skipping over it, chances are your students will not meet their learning target within the given time period of a specific lesson. Today's lesson has been very short for the simple fact that I know that there's a lot of information as we're building background knowledge on what backward design is. I also wanted to take some time to highlight what social and emotional learning looks like so that we can appreciate how it benefits young students, young adults, adults as well as seniors. So, regardless of the situation that you may be working in professionally or the situations in which you are placed in personally or within your private lives, social and emotional learning can benefit regardless. So, I want you to have that takeaway today as well as understand the definition of what backward design is and how it is beneficial towards lesson planning. That being said, tomorrow's lesson, we're going to be focusing on describing the key components of a learning target. That's going to require a little bit of push into Bloom's taxonomy and why it's important when we're developing our lesson plan. So if you want to start diving into materials on that on your free time, go at it. Otherwise, I will be bringing up that topic tomorrow, and we'll definitely be pulling apart Bloom's taxonomy and how it assists in learning target scripting. As this week goes on, by the end of the week, to give you a full highlight of what's to come, we will be writing another mini lesson plan using the components that we learned in our first module on non-formal education, as well as social and emotional learning. And we're also going to add in the components of backward design as well as strong learning target writing using Bloom's taxonomy. So it's going to be a very full week of exploring new topics, and I'm going to try and keep these lessons as short as possible so that you can spend time reviewing the information so that you're mastering it. Once more, thank you guys for completing this lesson. This is lesson 1 of module 2, backward design. Please head on over to the classroom, complete the corresponding quiz in module 2, lesson 1 on the Google Classroom. If you have a question, send me texts, or you can send me an email at ray.badal@sai.org. I look forward to hearing from each and every one of you. Take care.